Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to do a tutorial on how you can set up the backdoor Roth strategy if you're a high income earner. So previously, I've actually already posted this video, but I realized the Charles Schwab platform has updated so much, so my previous tutorial has been a little bit obsolete. And thanks for your comments, you guys, and I decided to make this brand new video in 2025. So you can follow along whether you are a first-time person trying to deploy this backdoor Roth strategy or you've already been doing it for the past few years. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so before I jump into the screen recording, I just want to do a quick recap on what is the backdoor Roth IRA strategy. So if you're already familiar with this, feel free to jump it to the next section, but if you aren't, please keep on watching. So IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account, which differs from 401k, which is an employer-sponsored retirement plan. And then the name Roth actually originally came from Senator William Roth, who first introduced this concept in 1997, which is a brand new of saving for retirement. It differs from a traditional IRA. Instead of taking an immediate tax benefit, the Roth IRA allows you to pay taxes up front, so then you can be tax-free later on. Personally, I really like the Roth IRA because it gives me a peace of mind knowing that I don't have to worry about paying any taxes when I retire. And it also has this really good 5-year rule that allows you to start withdraw penalty free after 5 years. So which means the earlier you can contribute to this, the earlier you have access to your retirement money. The term backdoor actually come from the fact that as a high income earner like yourself, you can't directly contribute to this Roth IRA because the IRA has this income eligibility restriction that wouldn't allow single filers with MAGI or modified adjusted gross income of over $165,000 if you're single filing, or over $246,000 if you are married filing jointly in 2025. And that figure does change every year, so make sure you check the IRS website. Actually, Schwab has this calculator that allows you to check whether you are over the income eligibility, which I think a lot of you guys are. In other words, you can't directly contribute to the Roth, but you can contribute to the traditional IRA first and then later convert it to the Roth IRA. Also, if you want to know more about the differences between the traditional IRA and the Roth IRA, I found this really great infographic that Schwab has published, which I'll also link below. It talks about how they differ in terms of taxes, contributions, and withdrawals. Please check it out. Okay, so if you're considering to deploy this backdoor Roth IRA strategy, I would actually highly recommend you guys to check whether you've already maxed out the company pre-tax 401k, especially if your employer offers a big match, as well as the HSA, which is traditionally known as a health savings account, but it's actually a great investment vehicle with a lot of tax advantages. I've actually already saved over $50,000 in it, and I've posted separate videos on either of these topics, so feel free to check it out. And if you're interested in learning this retirement ladder, aka what is the correct way of contributing to various different retirement accounts, please leave me a comment. I might make an updated video on that as well. Disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. Please consult your own financial advisor if you're thinking about deploying this strategy. Everything I talk about on my channel is educational purposes only, but I do hope you find this beneficial. With that said, let's jump into the 6-step process I will show you in just a second so you can make sure your backdoor Roth IRA is successful. Step number 1 is to figure out what is the contribution limit for Roth IRA this year. So in 2025, IRS just announced you can contribute up to $7,000 if you're age 50 or under, same as last year. But if you're age 50 or above, you can contribute up to $8,000. All right, now you have figured out what is the contribution limit. You want to come to Charles Schwab or any other brokerage of your choice to set up your IRA accounts. Okay, so I'm on the Charles Schwab platform right now, And to open the RA accounts, you want to first click on products and the retirements and IRA. Here it shows all the list of RA accounts that Schwab currently offers. The traditional IRA and there's the Roth IRA. So if you click on Roth IRA and then click on traditional versus Roth, it does give you a really good explanation on what the difference between the Roth and the traditional are. A Roth IRA allows you to make after-tax contributions. It's great for individuals who expect to be in a higher tax bracket when they start making withdrawals in the future. Whereas a traditional IRA allows you to do pre-tax contribution. Now, this doesn't really apply to us because we're already over the income limit, but the loophole allows you to first deposit in the traditional IRA account first and then later transfer to the Roth IRA, hence the backdoor loophole strategy. Okay, let's come back to the top, and the first thing you want to do is to open a traditional IRA. And now, if you're not first time doing this, you probably already have both the traditional account and the Roth accounts, so you can skip to the next step, the contribution step. But if this is your first time running it, you can follow along. So to open it, you can click on Get Started, and there's a place to put your referral link. So if you guys like my video so far and would love to support my channel, you can enter my referral information. I'll link it in the video description. But I really appreciate if you give this video a like as well. Anyways, you can click on Get Started. Here is where you enter all your personal information. There are a few more steps when it comes to opening an account. I'm not gonna open another account because I've already been doing it in the past few years, but just remember there's a regulatory step, features, and you have to review, and finally the agreements which you can enter as well. Okay, now you have opened a traditional IRA account. The next step is to open a Roth IRA account. So you follow the exact same step as the traditional IRA. There's no difference whatsoever. Click continue. You can add a trusted contact. You can add your beneficiaries, your employment information, and it has some questions around: are you a board member of a public health company? You have beneficial interest, so on and so forth. I selected no on all of them and press continue. And finally, do you want paperless documents? So I always opt in paperless whenever possible because I hate for the environment, but also because I keep losing my paper statements. Anyways, the final stage are these trading features. I just selected no on all of them. I would also encourage, obviously I'm not a financial advisor, but I also encourage you guys try not to do like margin options trading, things like that, especially if you're not a financial expert. So I just select no on all of them. Obviously choose based on your own situation, click on continue. And then there is a list of agreements you have to agree to before submitting it. Now, I'm not gonna open my own RA account because I already have it, but if you don't, this is the steps you need to follow. Okay, so let's come back to the original page. And after you've opened up your traditional and the Roth IRA account, the next step is to make your contributions. So to do that, you wanna click on Move Money and transfer, online transfer. Check that. Set up your transfer. So this is where you can transfer money between your internal or external non-Schwab accounts. You want to select cash only, and then next is when you select which account you want to transfer to and from. So the second account listed here called the contributory. So the contributory in Charles Schwab terms equivalents to the traditional IRA account. You want to make sure there's zero balance by the end of the year, because if you don't, it might trigger some tax complications. But leave me a comment if you have questions on that. And then once you select that, the next step is to figure out how much you want to contribute. There is a link right here that takes you to the IRS website. For 2025, again, it's $7,000, the same as previous year in 2024. So it shows me on 2024, I already have deposited $7,000. If you haven't done it for 2024, it's still not too late to do so. In fact, you have till the tax filing deadline of April 15th the following year to make up for that contribution to previous year. So I would encourage you guys to do it if you haven't done it for previous year, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it for 2025. Just keep in mind, if you do decide to not deposit in the same calendar year, the tax might be a little bit more complicated than the normal way. So definitely consult your accountant on that. So I want to choose 2025 because I already done it for 2024. Put in the $7,000. You want to choose a one-time frequency because we're only going to deposit it once. And then the transfer date is today, which is January 6, 2025. I know I'm doing it so early in the year because I'm actually deploying the strategy, which I like to call the front-loading strategy. Now, this strategy might not work for everyone. In fact, it definitely will not work for people who have cash flow problems in the beginning of the year, but it is something I like to do, unlike the dollar cost averaging a lot of people are raving about. But I personally like the front loading because assuming the stock market will grow, right, over the next few months or a few years, I do want to deposit it early so that I can allow money grow the longest time possible. But anyways, this is not financial advice. Just for educational purposes, this is what I do personally, but I do want to share that with you guys. And then next you want to click continue. Okay, so you want to review your information. The most important things are these, right? You want to make sure your bank information is correct. You want to make sure you're depositing into the traditional IRA account for the correct amount and then for the right contribution year. Oh, here is when you expect to see these transactions. So it will take a couple of business days for the transaction, for the money to appear in your account. And it might vary bank to bank, so just to keep in mind. But as soon as the money appears, you want to transfer it to the Roth right away so it doesn't incur any interest because that might complicate your tax reporting. So click on submit. Voila, it has submitted. All right, guys, so it's 4 business days later, and I just saw the $7,000 become available in my Schwab account. So I'm gonna jump back to my Schwab portal. I show you guys exactly what the next step should be. And if you've enjoyed my content so far, please give me a thumbs up. It's actually 11 p.m. right now, so I'm super dedicated so that I can pump out this video as soon as possible this year. And if this video gets more likes than my last Roth video, which is 600 likes, I think it's super easy to beat. You guys can help me out here. I'll make another Mega Backdoor video, which will allow you to save even more towards retirement. So with that said, let's jump right into the screen recording. Okay, so the fastest way to get to this page is to click on Move Money and then click on Online Transfer. You can uncheck that. And this is the online transfer page. So you might be familiar with this page already in the previous step. But now, instead of transfer money from an external account to your contributory, which is the traditional traditional IRA, now you want to transfer money from the traditional IRA, the $7,000. This is how you know the money is available to be transferred. So when I checked it like a couple of days ago, the transfer did succeed, but I contacted Schwab and then they told me they need at least 4 business days for my bank to be completely clear so that I can actually use this money. That's just something to be aware of. But an important tip here is that as soon as the money become available, I want you guys to transfer it, because in case if you incur any interest or whatever, in your traditional IRA, that might potentially trigger the pro rata rule, which will complicate your tax situation a lot more. If you're interested in the pro rata rule, or if you already have run into this problem, please leave me a comment below. Maybe I'll make a separate video on that. Now we chose the traditional IRA account, and then we want to send it to your Roth IRA account. The text cuts eliminate ability to recategorize a Roth conversion for tax after. We recommend you consult with other regarding the tax complications prior to completing the transaction. So you see the warning here, you want to click on right here, click to complete this Roth conversion request. So here is where it leads you to the actual portal. Okay, so if you want to get here directly, alternatively, you can also go to this link right here. I'll put this link down in the description box so you guys can grab it. I do notice the Schwab site changes now and then. So like if this link doesn't work anymore, please leave me a comment so I can update it. Thanks. Anyways, let's jump in. Now we wanna, okay, so same, right? You wanna choose your contributory, and then you want it from, and then two is you wanna choose your Roth. There isn't other options available. This conversion just automatically assumes you're trying to convert from a traditional to a Roth. So if you see other options available, it might not be on the right page. So make sure you are on this page. Notice that it does have another button for you to open a Roth IRA account, but we already did that. And I've got so many questions from you guys, like, do I have to open a Roth IRA every single year? The answer is no, you don't have to. Once you have one Roth open, you can just do this exact same method, do the traditional and then transfer to Roth. You don't have to open a new account every year, guys. So yeah, of course, we're gonna ignore that. And then in terms of the conversion type, we'll choose full conversion, because we want to convert the entire $7,000. You just want to always double check you're not over contributing than the RS limit. I showed you guys already what is the RS limit this year, but it does change not every year, but like every other year, there's some kind of increase. So make sure you are not over contributing. That's very important, because if you do over-contribute, there might be a tax penalty. And that's really difficult to deal with. Okay, so, and then this pop-up says there are no positions in this account. Trailing credits interest will be deposited to you. Okay, so this is why I mentioned about you want to do this transfer as soon as possible, because if it does incur interest and dividends, which will mean you might be potentially over the $7,000, right? So that is a potential problem you want to avoid. All right, so then let's click on continue. There are a bunch of information about your tax withholding. Okay, yeah. So prior to making this decision, we strongly recommend to consult your tax advisor. So this is a disclaimer, because in another following step, you do have to file a tax form 8606 as part of this conversion process, which I'll get into in just a bit. So make sure you watch this video all the way till the end. Anyways, so the default is no, I don't want to federal income tax withhold. And then for the state income tax, is also no. Okay, and the next section, it talks about distributions. If you guys not close to retirement yet, you don't have to worry about it, but just remember, like, if you are closer to that stage, when you do distributions, you have to also file a tax form on that. Click on continue. Okay, if everything looks good, you can click on agree and then submit. Voila, it's successful. So, but wait, we're not done yet. A lot of people think that we're done, but no, there are two more steps, two very important steps following this transfer process. Okay guys, it's the next day and the money became available in my Roth. I will actually just recommend you guys to do this process on a business day so you don't have to separate like two parts like myself. But anyways, after the money become available in your Roth IRA account, the next step is to invest it. And I can't stress enough how important this step is, because I heard a lot of people just leave your $7,000 in the Roth and don't do anything with it. The benefit of being in Roth is that the growth will actually be tax-free when you withdraw. So if you're not letting your money work for you, then what's the point of deploying this backdoor strategy, right? So I highly recommend you guys to do this step right immediately after you do the transfer from the traditional to the Roth. So let me show you, I'm back on Schwab again, and let's click on trade, and then let's click on stocks and ETF. What I'm about to show you is what I invest personally myself. So obviously adapt it to your own financial situation depending on your risk tolerance. I'm still early in my retirement, so I like to invest a little bit more aggressively. Almost 100% of my Roth IRA has been in the index funds. Specifically, I like to track the S&P 500, the VOO ticker, which has a pretty low expense ratio, and I also like the XLK, which is a technology-based portfolio. So I'm gonna put my $7,000 in mix of VOO and then XLK. So and then click on buy. Obviously, make sure you click on reinvest dividends. I always check this box, which this basically means if there's dividends from the fund or the stock, then it will automatically reinvest without having you to do this manually. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a market order day, and I'm gonna buy. To figure out how many you should buy, you can enter how much you wanna buy, and then obviously it will automatically populate the market price of it. So it's roughly 6 shares. So I just do a market order. Fractional shares only support S&P 500 via the Schwab stock slices. So if you S&P, then you can do it. So let's do this. Place order. Okay, I'm gonna place another order. I'm gonna do XLK, and then his order. In case you guys are wondering about what these funds are, there's also very detailed documentation explaining what it consists of. The XLK have a slightly more higher expense ratio, 0.09% compared to the VOO, which I think has a 0.03%. If I could just go back. Yeah, so VOO has a, let me see, what's the expense ratio? Yeah, net expense ratio 0.03%. And then VOO tracks its top 10 holdings are pretty much what's in the S&P 500, all the big cap stocks. And historically, it has been doing really well. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not going to tell you what exactly you should invest. I'm just showing you what I'm investing, so feel free to adapt it based on your risk tolerance. All right, guys, so we are finally at the very last step of the backdoor process. We're almost there, not quite yet, but what you need to do is during the tax filing, you have to make sure you fill out the form 8606. Send this to your accountant or financial advisor if they're not familiar. It's pretty simple, but obviously I'm not an accountant, so make sure you consult them or ask them to fill this out. But I just want to show you guys what this form looks like and why we need to fill it out. So the form 8606 is titled the non-deductible IRAs. Because we're putting, remember, we have first put after-tax money in your traditional IRA, so this is the form we need to fill out. If you scroll to line 1, it asks you to enter what is the non-deductible contribution to your traditional IRA. So that will be $7,000. This amount will obviously change year by year or person by person. If you contribute less than that, just make sure you're entering the correct amount. And I think rest of it will be pretty straightforward. So yeah, I'm not gonna fill it out for you because I'm not an accountant, but just make sure you're asking them to fill it out properly. This is really, really important because if you don't do it, there might be some type of tax penalty associated. Okay, I also forgot to mention that you can do $7,000 for yourself, also for your spouse if you're married. So $14,000 in total, and then when you do this 8606, you have to fill it out for both of you guys. Alright guys, so that's it. I really hope this tutorial helps you. There isn't many step-by-step tutorials like this out there specifically for the backdoor Roth. If you find this beneficial, make sure you like and subscribe. My channel is all about retirement savings, 401ks, Roth IRAs, even all the backdoors and also credit cards. So do subscribe if you're interested in those type of content, and I try to make everything easy to follow and step by step. So you see a lot of these screen recordings in my video because to me, that is the most straightforward way. Yeah, with that said, see you guys in the next one.